Welcome to WO50, Women Over 50 Embody Wisdom and Wellness.
Yep, we sure do. My name is Corrine, and I'm here with my BFF, Eddi. And today, our title is From Doing to Being, A Journey Towards Self-Acceptance and Joy. What does that even mean?
Oh, you have to listen. You'll have to listen in. It's the doing and the being and the yes.
How to become more of a human being by inquiring to yourself the reasons why you do things. And are you doing things out of obligations? Are you shoulding all over yourself? Are you shoulding?
She's saying shoulding. Yes. You say it so fast. You're like, you're shitting. I don't shit all over myself. Should. I love that. I love that line. We had a few laughs, and you know, it's good. This talk, and we're digging deeper, right? We're diving really deep into our authentic selves and acceptance of ourselves, accepting who we are, why we choose to do and act in a way without thinking what others think.
Yeah. Oh, we like that. Hi, Ed.
Hello, Ken.
You and your little pink flower.
Yep, love my pink flower. Reminds me of spring and summer and what things look like when the snow comes away from them and they poke their little heads up through the soil.
We had little flowers here already. I remember when I first moved here, before I got into gardening, I wondered how there could be flowers in February. Like, when did people plant them? In December? Like, I didn't know about annuals that they come back. I didn't know about bulbs and annuals. I had no idea. And so now I've got annual bulbs all over my yard, and they pop up at different times. So I had the little yellow ones, you know, the yellow ones. There's already a little bunch of them. It looks like
they're like the little crocuses, the Easter.
Yes, exactly.
Easter
I had just one little bunch in the front yard.
They're so cute, and the daffodils. Well, they up here, you know, a little bit. We have some out front, and we were in March. They usually show up a little bit, but then there's usually a big snowstorm comes in, and it's amazing how they survive.
They're resilient. Wow.
Well, unless we get a foot of snow, then, you know, goodbye Easter. So, yeah.
When's Easter again? It's in April, isn't it?
Well, you know what? It's the end of March. It starts, it's the 1st of April this year. It starts, I think, Easter Sunday is March 31st, something like that.
I never know when it is.
I know it feels early this year for some reason.
I'm a very bad Catholic.
Yeah.
I was born Catholic and baptized, but I haven't called myself Catholic in a very long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. That's all good.
Yeah.
You know who you are. I
know who I am, and I have self-acceptance and joy in me already without the label of.
Oh my goodness, is that our podcast title tonight? Oh, it is.
From Doing to Being, A Journey Towards Self-Acceptance and Joy. And I think I'd like to start, like, this has been a big journey for me. I'd love to hear about your journey as well, because this has been one of my main topics that sort of threw me into the self-inquiry and spirituality and finding out, you know, who I am and stuff. And I think a good description for me is during COVID, I had these really awesome Ecuadorian guys that had actually come through Mexico with the drug cartel to get to America. They had to pay $20,000 to the drug cartel to come here so that they could work and make money. So they started working for me during COVID, and we used to speak through an app. Well, one of them is still with me now, 4 years later. And so I used to like cook for them. We'd eat outside, and they'd like fix my fence or do whatever I needed, and then I'd cook for them. And so I was out shopping to make them dinner, and it just kind of wave came across me that I used to do that all the time for boyfriends and friends. And, you know, I used to buy like I had a lot of long distance relationships, and I would, you know, send packages to them. I remember one of my first boyfriends I wrote a letter to like every single day when he was out playing hockey. And, just that over, like, trying, it's very smothering, I'm sure. And I just had this stark difference when I was making dinner for these guys, that it was out of a fullness rather than an emptiness. And I realized that my why had changed. To I no longer need to show people my worthiness by being a good girl and doing things for them and being a pleaser. I just really enjoy giving to people and serving people, but it's out of fullness. It's not out of saying, "Oh, look at me. I'm good. I'm special. I'm worthy."
Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool. Do you know like when that hit, when you felt that?
Well, I
Was it?
think that just in COVID was a wave of a really solidness in it, like that my why had changed, and because I think it was a slow seeping. It was a journey through many different relationships and many different situations, work situations, intimate situations, friend situations. And so it was a slow thing that happened. It wasn't like a stark thing, but then that time when I was shopping, I realized, oh, I'm very familiar with this, but my why has completely changed now.
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't realize that, especially givers, we don't realize that we give to feel worthy,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And my thing is, what I help people with, that I help myself with, is that everybody is worthy enough to stand on the planet, whether they accomplish anything or not. You
Yeah.
think about when you wake up in the morning, you feel like the need to accomplish something. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's the why.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you feel a need to accomplish something so you feel good about yourself, because you don't feel good about yourself unless you accomplish? Or do you
Mm-hmm.
just do it out of your nature? And that's the thing that I say my why has changed.
Yes. Yes. Well, it's in your nature. When you're the giver, like I agree. Growing up, I look at why I did things, and I did it, I enjoyed serving and care. I know the language to use now, right? But back then you're giving, but it's to make sure no one gets pissed off at you, and you better do that, or this person's going to talk about you, or there's always these reasons, and we carry all that conditioning with us, it seems, up until certain shifts start taking place, and like you said, the why hits, and it's like, I don't want to go over there now. Like, I don't care what they say or who says, or a
What they
family member
think about
talks
me
about.
or what it looks like to other people.
Yeah, you know what? Because those are the times I realized, oh my God, I was getting so self-defensive. You're always defending yourself because of that decision you made. And then you have this kind of aha moment. And it's only happened really lately in my life, because I love giving. You know that. I mean, a lot of times when we give without expectation, right? One of the four agreements, have no expectations. And you just, are doing the best you can. Another one of them. When you do that, it feels good. There is
It's
no expect.
clean.
It's
It's
clean.
clean.
Yeah, there's
And
no backstory to it.
right, but it's really subtle, because I remember working with one of my clients for years, that she would expect a thank you from her grandchildren when she sent them a present. And I'm like, she's like, I taught my son better than that. I can't believe that he's doing that. And it's like, well, I know my sister, it's like sometimes they just get too busy,
Yeah,
and yes, in a perfect world, it would be nice if people thanked for a gift, but it's not on purpose. They're not being an asshole on purpose.
that's right.
They might be not being as thoughtful, but it's like, it's not an affront. Like, she took it as like an affront.
Yes. And isn't it better, because you can only think the thoughts? Isn't it better that if they aren't intentionally being an asshole, they didn't leave you out intentionally, that's what you believe? That, oh, they are so busy, they never, or we're going to grab the story. Oh my God, that's so hurtful. Like, I would never do that. Like, how come I would write a card? Okay, you'd write a card, but that's not how this is done anymore. This shift in
Can't expect
ourselves,
you to
right?
show up in other people. I love that saying, right? Don't expect you to show up in a relationship.
Yes. How many times do I say that in my office when somebody says something and I'm like, that's what you would do? And that you say the same thing. That's what you would do. I mean, how many times have you said that to me over the years? Yeah, Ed, I know you're thinking they should do that, but because that's what you would do. I'm like, yeah. I'm going, yeah, huh, exactly.
Because there
And then
is no
now,
like, people think that there's like some moral law of the things that you should and shouldn't do, of how you people, and there actually isn't. All you have to do is travel and see in India that it's actually polite to pick up a plate and slurp it. And in America, it is so not polite. And it's actually polite to like burp. And even some people will vomit on the street in front of you in India because it's like better out than in, like Shrek, you know.
or
And of
blow their
course,
nose, or blow their
yes,
nose, not
yes,
with a
they don't have
tissue.
tissue there.
Yeah, just like blow their nose, literally. Like, so I'm going, whoa. First time I saw that, I was disgusted. I went, what the heck? Oh my God. Yep. Yep. It's something.
And because
That's
it causes,
self-acceptance.
yeah, sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
No, that's self-acceptance in its all its glory, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, just and so that's kind of what, the title is From Doing to Being. And it's like you do an inquiry to yourself of why you do things, because we are human beings, but we
Mhm.
also do in the world. And
Yeah.
we are human, and we need purpose and meaning. But the thing is we have to realize is you create your own meaning and purpose in life. And it's
Mhm.
different than the next person's meaning and purpose in life. And it
Yes.
might change and shift. Like when you're a young mother, that's your meaning and your purpose. And then when
Mhm.
you've got to find a different meaning and purpose when your kids go to college, you know?
Yes. When
And
you're over 50, there's a
yeah,
different
and
meaning and
when,
purpose. This letting go of the label that we have, a lot of women in the workforce, or anybody, when it starts to shift and change, a lot of people have a hard time letting go, or retiring, or even like setting like boundaries in place, because they still want to be accepted even as a caregiver, right? Even as a caregiver, like now they're leaving work, they've tended to their office employees, and next thing you know, they're caregiving, and they signed up for taking care of their senior parent, friend, grandkids, but they never questioned, is it what they want to do? It's a time in our lives where we go, what is it I want to do? Where do I lay down the role playing from the doing to the being, and sitting in what I want to do,
yeah,
what I truly love, what gives me joy, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And getting rid of the shoulds. I always say people should all over themselves when they do what they should do,
You
and that,
say they should all over themselves.
yeah.
I love that. That's really good.
Yeah, people shit all over themselves. I was just saying
Should
that to a client today.
you just should all over yourself.
Yeah.
That's Oh, I love that. I'm going to use that one. Corinism. Corinne has some isms now. Woo!
Oh yeah, yeah. We've had Eddyisms for a long time. Yeah. Yeah,
Corinnisms.
I love that one because it's like we do shit on ourselves. Like it's I should do this, I should do this. No, don't shit on yourself. Every time you have a should in something, you question that. Okay,
Yes.
why do I think I need, am I doing it? What is the reason? What's the why? So I always say, why is a question of pain. Once in a while, why is a good question, but not as often as we ask it. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times it's a story that we make up.
It's a
And
guilt
so,
reaction. Sometimes it's a guilt.
mhm. Yeah.
Keep going. Sorry, I didn't want
Yeah,
to
no, no,
interrupt
no.
you
That's
again.
no, that's exactly it. It's like we do things out of obligation. Like I say, if you go make dinner or have Sunday brunch with your mom out of obligation, it actually creates more dissonance in the universe and in your life than it does in service to your mother. Like you have to go when help people and be at service to them when you want to. And that might sound very selfish, but it's not. You're going into what's true and for you. And it may be like I was talking to a client today that she's like, she had this habit of like her stepmother was passing away for the last few years, and so she was flying. She has two teenage sons, and she was flying and visiting her dad and stepmother to help her transition a lot over the past couple of years. Well, she's passed now, and now her dad still is sort of expecting that same amount of time. And she found herself being really resentful for she had booked a week to go help him with his filing system. And she was like, I need to help do my own filing system. And my family is totally upturned when I go. And she realized, the trip ended up being canceled. But I was like, but what a better choice would have done if it wasn't canceled is just what feels good for you, like 2 days maybe. Because she was like, I don't need a whole week to go do the filing. And so really inquiring into yourself what feels right for you to give, because that when you get resentful or you do things out of obligation, it's first of all, it's not good for the other person because it's not a clean giving. And it's not good for you. That's like it takes energy to it's like more energy than the giving is. But if you give something and you feel really good about it and it works in your life too, then you have more energy for your own life as well.
Yes. And it's also there, it ties into you're enjoying it, and that really puts you in your being. Your being. You're not the doing out of duty, out of do.
Yes.
It's you're in it.
Yes.
You're
That's a
really
great point,
in it.
Eddie. It puts you into being. Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that.
And we need to recognize that brings in awareness, right? That's where we start looking at our lives, and time is so precious. It's so precious. And we don't want the guilt stuck to, oh gosh, I haven't been over to visit mom all week. I gotta shoot, I have this and I have this and I have this, and there was snow days, and I had all that this week, and I was juggling it all, and I did the best with what I could and made time that I got my stuff in, that I wasn't feeling like obligated to do anything I did. I went over, and when I got the time to get over to visit, my mom, we had a great visit. And then the rest of the family happened to come by, like some of them, and we visited, and it was great. So sometimes it just works out when you're just being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had another talk with another client a while back, and she brings this up a lot. She's got some health issues. She's got a surgery coming up. And she was sitting with me, this is a while back now, and she's like, I just was so overwhelmed because I had this person coming over and my house was a mess and I had to clean it. And I was like, why did you have to clean your house? Well, because and I said, aren't you the boss of what you have to do and what's clean? And I said, is it possible that you could have been okay with this person? Like, do you think this person would have cared, would have even noticed that you cleaned up? Because it probably was cleaner than she realized, right? So
Yeah.
some people have these ideas about these standards for themselves. And sometimes when you're not feeling well, it's just not possible and you have to let things
Yeah.
go. And
Yeah.
she's had such a freedom in life ever since I shared that with her. She's like, she's like, her house is, I still enjoy cleaning my house, but I also have such a freedom in letting it go sometimes because
Yeah.
she's not feeling well. She doesn't have the energy and she gives
Yes.
herself permission to just be a little messy sometimes.
Yes. And that person that walked into that house not being perfectly clean was so relieved when they walked out the door. That's what I like to believe, that, oh, thank God her house isn't
Not
spick
as
and
clean as
span.
mine is.
So,
Yeah.
no, it's like, because I left my house like this. Whew. Because I've been that way too, where oh God, I got to get everything dusted. And we have the in-laws coming over, and what are they going to say? The dust is there. Well, my goodness, you know what? If they're having a good meal in the house with some great company, and if my housekeeping is all they have to talk about, then knock your socks off.
Yeah. And it
That's a
usually is not. Like, and the thing is
no.
that even if you did clean for somebody who is that way, they're gonna judge you even if it's spick and span.
Exactly.
You can't change what people think and say,
No,
you
so
know.
we have to take kind of the other road and just go, you know what? Look at all the positives that are happening with all that. And there is a letting go. There it is again, right? Self-acceptance of, okay, I didn't get the house clean the way I really want it to be cleaned. I'll get to it.
Yeah, being
Instead of sitting there mulling, looking at, little specks of dust that the sun is shining through the air. As soon as the sun comes out, it's like, whoa.
One of my favorite sayings that works in so many situations is actually Maharishi Mahesh Yogi saying, who is the Beatles guru, and it's see the job, do the job, stay out of misery. And it so works in so many situations. Another client of mine was upset because her dad asked her to do something. Actually, it's the same one that I was talking about with her dad. And she stopped what she was doing and could get back to it. And it took longer. And instead of just see the job, do the job, stay out of misery, she resented the whole time she was helping him. Then she resented picking up her son and taking him to music class. Then she was pissed off at her husband when she got home. And I'm like, what would have happened if you would have just been okay with the decision you made? You see the job, do the job. Sometimes things get derailed, and just go through, and then she would have had much better day that way, right? So, and that's that what you were saying, that you're shifting from doing and controlling and having things go the way, because life never goes the way we want it, right?
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
just shifting into being. And that doesn't mean we let the universe run over us. We make cognitive decisions, but then we stand by our decision. Once you're on a roll with something, if you made a decision, you can't be resentful that it's not going your way because you've made it. And then just, see the job, do the job, stay out of misery.
Well, that's it. That's it. Yep. And after 50, we want to really start recognizing some of the things how we process things, and it starts to fall away. It really does. It's like you said, from the doing to the being, from the not defending yourself because of the house being unclean or the people coming or the meal's not good enough. I mean, we can have reels playing all the time, all the time. And it's sitting in this self-acceptance of, is this moment giving me joy, filling my heart? Am I in it willingly?
Yeah. And taking responsibility for it being there. Like if you've made that choice to be in there, and if you don't want to be there, can you make the choice to not be there? Like not having all the mental masturbation about it, all the conflict inside. It's
Yeah.
right. The frustration, usually frustration, it can be a sign that you're exhausted,
Yeah.
that you're not following your intuition and your own inner guidance, that you're overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. And
And
what do we do then?
yeah, what do we do
Stop.
then?
Take
Stop.
inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. This way I'm doing this right now. This, some might call it processing. What this isn't working. What am I doing? Let me stop and breathe for a minute. I did quotation marks. What am I doing with my fingers here? For
You
those who
watched
aren't
the video.
watching and
Yeah.
listening,
Yeah.
that just hit me just then.
We have a lot of people that watch too. We have a lot of people that just listen, but there are some YouTube people as well. So,
Yeah, it's so nice that people tune in and listen. And we
oh,
have all kinds of ages, even though it's all about women over 50, but there's a lot of really beautiful information here for all ages. But this topic in particular, this self-acceptance and knowing and recognizing when we're doing or being from whatever the source, the root, the whatever that is, where we're coming from, at any age, that's so beautiful to recognize at any
yeah.
moment, in any time, in any situation.
Yeah. Tuning
Yeah.
into what it is you feel to do rather than what you feel obligated, like obligations. And some people think that can't exist, like if you have children or you have work, you have obligations, but there is a balance to it. And that's where the see the job, do the job, stay out of misery, because there are some situations where you are going to go to like a parent teacher conference that you have to show up to that you don't want to go to. And so once you've made the decision to go to it, say your spouse can't go or whatever, then you accept it. Otherwise, you'll suffer. If you fight it and you don't want to be there, you're not going to be of service to, maybe you'll get in better information about your kid if you just show up without the resentment. you know? So when there are the times that we do have, we can't just sort of feel into what we can say yes and no to, we actually do have to do things, like for work or for our kids or whatever, is really yeah, see the job, do the job. And then having the other things that are things like helping friends move or with a situation or helping college kids or whatever it is, the where you can feel into what feels good to you in your beingness and not doesn't feel like it's an expectation, but comes out of your own love for that person and love for yourself too.
Well, and that's really big in our age group because we have older children or older friends or grandkids, even for a lot of people. And sometimes there's a lot of expectations that
Mhm.
you think are expectations, but you actually still get to make the decision.
Yes.
Do I give my whole week? Do I give a day? Do I give, like you talked about, doing the books for the person, right? How much time, and being really clear is really important. Communication at this point in our lives, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
We have to be clear.
You have to be clear. And even when you think you're being clear, sometimes the person still doesn't get it. And so just,
Yeah.
doing your best to be clear and even saying, can you tell me what you heard me say or whatever it is, because when there's miscommunication or misunderstanding between people, or you take something personal or you take an offense to something, it typically can be fixed in a conversation
Yeah.
because typically the person didn't mean it like you took it. 9 times out
Yes.
of 10. Or,
How many times has that happened in our lives?
yeah, it
I said
happens.
to someone, this was really funny because you think the communication is clear. Even the language is English, right? We're speaking English. So I said to someone the other day, I said, and it was a Zoom call, and, and if she's listening, she'll know. And I went, my goodness, girl, your hormones are in your boots. And she's like, what? Why? I can't have hormones in my boobs. I've dealt with breast cancer. I don't want hormones in my boobs. And before I was like, no, 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 no. Just take a breath. Take a breath. In your boots. Your boots. And she
Your
went,
shoes.
oh, I never heard that saying before. I'm like, anyway, we got a good laugh out of it because, yeah, that was even misinterpreted.
That is hilarious.
And even when you're talking to somebody like your partner, and you're telling them something and you're passionate about it, like you're like, oh, and blah 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 blah, and they're looking at you and you think they understand it and they didn't get it at all, and then you think, oh my God, they're so inconsiderate, they're siding for that other person.
Yeah.
And it's
They're not.
just, it's not them, it's just their face, and they didn't even take in half the words you said.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so
So
many stories we
yeah.
create, and you just got to learn to be, in the moment, realizing when you're starting to weave a story in your head about what somebody said, and just really, it as all you can control is your side of the street.
Yeah,
That's it. You
that's
can't
right.
control anybody. You got to stay in your own lane, stay on your side of the street, and allow everybody to be who they are. That's all anybody wants,
Yeah.
is to be like, isn't the greatest gift is like, I remember one of the hardest things about my divorce was that I really felt that Satya loved me unconditionally. Like I felt that he loved me no matter what. He never judged me. And I had never felt that way with anybody. He never, like, he saw all of me and he just loved me fully. And that was hard to walk away from
Mm,
because all we want to do is to be accepted for who we are. And most times we don't accept anybody or any situation for what it is. We're
yeah.
constantly trying to mold people and situations to how we want them to be. And
Hmm.
so so that's about the more you allow other people to be who they are, the more you're allowing yourself to be who you are, because it's all a reflection. And that
Yes.
all will lead towards the beingness and the self-acceptance.
That's right. You're enough just as you are.
Yeah. You don't have to, accomplish anything. You might want to because you just, wake up one day and you feel the need to make dinner for the whole family, and that's great. But
Mhm.
the difference between that and being excited about it, or feeling obligated on Thanksgiving to do it and feeling resentful that people are coming and there's that, that's when it takes the joy out of things.
Well, that brings me into another thought here. It's like, when you, as women, you build a successful business and, you're getting close to, you don't even need to be there anymore. You can actually back out of this now and go and do some things you've been wanting to do. Yet that overachievement piece and that accomplishing piece is still stuck on you, you know? And I see a lot of that in my office. Like, and I question even when I'm working, I'm going, okay, all my friends around me are retiring, but I still love what I do. I mean, I I remember somebody saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life.
Yeah.
And I love that saying. And this one woman, that's who's coming into my head. And she said, it's who I am. I just want to do more. It's who I am. I don't know who I am without that. And I want to do more and I want to build it more. And I'm like, but are you enjoying it? Like, do you feel really good? And she's like, well, no, like I don't. I'm like, well, maybe it's time to question that's enough. Maybe you've done enough with what you've built, and isn't that just okay to just be okay with that? Why do we have to keep grasping for that
The next thing.
shiny object? Yeah, that right, more and more and more, when sometimes, because that's how it's been.
Yeah.
That's why, because we're so used to doing that. Even to stop, like, remember the story when Mrs. didn't have anything to do and she goes, what, I'm just supposed to stay here and like just do nothing? Yeah. And sometimes that's when we get some big revelations. We get some big life situation changes, or things, bells and whistles go off in our head and we go, oh my God, I never thought of doing that. If I didn't do that, huh? Because we're making space.
Yep. Where one door closes, another one opens.
Yep. Human being, not a human doing. A human
Uh-huh.
being.
Yep. Step into your beingness. Step away from the doing. Step into your beingness.
You can still do.
Yeah, you can still do, but that's not only who you are. But
Not what
doing out of
drives you.
being instead of just doing,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
you know?
self-acceptance. That's what it boils down to, is the self-acceptance that there's joy in that beautiful moment of what you choose to do.
Yeah.
You've chosen, I'll do this today. And every day we get to do it, or this moment we do anyway.
Yeah. It's an important topic. It's something that comes up every day in the coaching that I do. So I'm glad that we had this conversation today, because um and it still comes up for me as well all the
Of
time. I
course.
question,
Yeah.
is it's diligence. That's another thing I was talking to a client about today. It's like, what tends to happen with the people that I coach is they'll come here with a lot of suffering, and then they'll go out of the chute and just soak up everything that I'm sharing with them, and for 2 months, and their life changes and it's amazing. And then they'll kind of take off the gas of things, and then things will kind of go back to the way they were. And it is a process, like a journey that takes, like I always call it the office hours for your soul, like meditating daily and doing things for yourself daily and inquiring what is, why you're doing things and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a daily thing, because life is every day. It's not like
Yeah.
you have a really good sleep one night, you don't ever need to sleep again. You know,
That's right.
we need sleep every night, and
That's
we
right.
need, to brush our teeth every day, and we need to eat every day, and drink
Clean
water,
food,
and self-care, and inquiry,
learn and
and
move.
learning, yeah, for our brains. And it's a part of your daily life is inquiring why you're doing things, so that you're not living like a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah.
And because once you hit 50, you realize you kind of start demanding more joy in your life. Like hopefully you do that when you're younger too. And you can do that and you should do that when you're younger. That is a good should. And so, but now is really taking each day and looking at your day and how do I and why am I doing things? That's the inquiry right there.
There it is. That's it. Self-acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like who you be?
Who you be?
Do you love your being?
So be joyful, be self-accepting,
be kind, be authentic, be love,
be you.
Yeah, and you.
Till next time, Ed. We look forward. Thanks for listening in. See you next time.